And welcome to Tackle the Board. My name is Chris Exusion. You can find me at Chris Ebom on Twitter, and that's Russ Reese, the Vegas line reader. It is week 5, Russ. How are we doing?
I'm doing good, man. Definitely had a rough weekend, actually. Won the first 3 weeks. I think I was just due for a bad week, and I actually saw someone posted something about the sports books got killed, and all my picks are always based off going opposite the public. So just one of those weekends that I had some tough beats going on, some fumbles going for long touchdowns. But that's going to happen. It happens every week. I'm not going to make excuses. You know what I mean? So took a losing week. Confident I'm just going to bounce right back here this week. I was down in the dumps all week, and I'm like, oh man, I got to wait a whole nother weekend. You know, it sucks when you got to wait a whole nother week just to get back at it. So I had a feeling in that 49ers game with everybody, the public on the Rams, that the sports books were just going to get their money right.
I love that game, that 49ers game.
I was like, I need a break. I just need a day to take off.
Yeah.
But you were telling me that you had a good weekend last week, and how'd you make out?
Yeah, so it was a battle. So college football was a little bit of a loss, but NFL saved the day. So we are still riding the streak of winning betting cards for the most part. But most importantly, though, congrats on 200, boys. Next is 300. So that's pretty much what it's coming down to, guys. Thank you again for subscribing. We're at 205 right now. We're trying to get to 300 now. We had pretty much record views last week, about 1,700 views all week. We appreciate it, guys. Thanks for spreading the word, giving us a follow, like all that good stuff. We really appreciate it. It goes such a long way, and I could not be so happy about what is going on with Tackle the Board right now.
We appreciate everyone that subscribed last week. We said for people to subscribe. We appreciate them, and we do this show for everyone to help them make money. So we definitely want everyone to engage and give your opinions and comments every week, and we'll get this going, get more people coming in every single week. It'll be great.
Yeah, absolutely. And we get stuff from you guys. When you guys bring up games, like there was last week where it was either the week or week before, somebody brought up a game, a new viewer, and he talked, hey, what do you think about this? And as we broke it down, I ended up playing that game and winning. So it does happen that you guys bring these games up to our attention, because I have my games for picks wise, I do, and then I have my group of games that I've had set for the entire year that I've liked and everything like that. So that's been pretty good. But this weekend I was in Minneapolis visiting Minnesota. Great state, by the way, very underrated. What?
I remember you were talking about it. How was it?
So I did a little golf trip. I met up with some of the golf Twitter boys from Fantasy Golf Pod. I got the hat on right here. Nice. Great guys. Chad, Josh, and Eric. Their show is Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And pretty much on YouTube, they're talking DFS golf, guys. Cracking beers, clicking names, a lot of fun, a lot of good stuff, good knowledge for the DFS game. So check them out on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Great time. I had a birdie on Saturday. Fantastic. Coming off injury strong at a very difficult course. I went birdie, par, and then, the rest of the card went kind of crap. But, hey, when you do that, everything's feeling right, Russ.
I bet. You must have been feeling good after that one.
Absolutely, man. Cigar, some beers, man. I was locked in on that back nine, man. I was locked in. So I really enjoyed that. But I also want to talk about something too before we get into the card real quick.
That's cool.
So we always talk about people that, hit us up and reach out to us and everything. So I got like the best of both worlds. So on Instagram, I don't really promote my Instagram that much, but I had a guy that randomly followed me on Instagram, and he looked at one of my picks wise plays. So I always do point spread and total. I have to do that when I pick the game. So I give both ends of it. So this year, giving both ends of the games, doing 4 or 5 games a week, I'm at 56% picking both sides of the game, which is still pretty impressive, because that's practically winning at that point, and you're covering the juice. And I'm forced to pretty much do the spread and the total. This guy has a nerve of messaging me. And then, now I know I'm starting to make it, because I'm starting to get some haters, which I really like. So he's like, you suck, all this, you're the worst, you should stop doing this. And then he showed me my record. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good record, for picking both sides of every game. And he's like, oh, this is terrible, and blah, blah, blah. And it's just funny. I was like, all right, I finally made it, because I never really had any haters. But
yeah, don't worry. You'll love the first one. And then once they all start coming, good luck, man. Have fun. They can
So I'm
start.
enjoying the ride now, Russ. But then on the other hand, I got somebody else that was really, he liked what I did at Picks Wise, and then he subscribed to the show. I wonder if he'll come on today, talk. Because I was like, hey, bring your comments because we'll talk about any game you want to talk about. If you want to talk about NFL. So he was really excited about it. He subscribed. He's ready to roll. Found me on Instagram. These guys are finding me on Instagram. So I find it very impressive. I don't really pump that too much.
Yeah, that's strange.
Yes. So that's pretty much my little spiel for the little part over here. But
Congratulations.
Now, just things that went on, for the week.
Yeah, usually you get a hater on the weekend that you win too, right?
Yeah, typically. And I made a great rally comeback. If you follow me on Chris Ebaum on Twitter, I post my card every week. I know some of you guys might not be on Twitter, so I might have to start posting that on Instagram possibly. So that might have to be something.
It's a random person that had the opposite side of you that's pissed off and just.
I know because he probably bet a lot on a random game, and then that was pretty much that for the most part. So. Well, Mitch, our boy Mitch is checking this. So are we all in on the Titans this week? I think we'll get to that game eventually. We'll work our way into that. But hey,
I saw Mitch commented on my Twitter about the Titans, and I was holding back because definitely I don't like the Titans this week. But I'll get into that later.
Yeah, we'll get into that later. We have a little lineup card we do over here. So Mitch, we'll get to that in no time. But hey, let's get into it right now. Thursday night football: Indianapolis Colts at Denver Broncos. Rusty's. Denver Broncos laying 3.5. The over-under is 43. Where are you going?
Yep, I got the Broncos here.
Oh, man. My goodness.
It's mainly has to do with the Colts here, not the actual Broncos.
Oh, God.
Not look good so far. That was the one game that screwed me with the 70-yard fumble going the other way with Javonte Williams, who's out for the season now.
Yes, correct.
So we're going to get into this game. Basically just a bad spot here for the Colts. As they're going to be without Shaq Leonard. He just came back last week and ended up getting a concussion in that game, knocked him out. And Buckner, their defensive tackle, he was limited. He only played 19 snaps last week. I wish I would have known that. That was my fourth. Yeah, I threw that in as my last forced pick with the Colts. I'm like,
Oregon done great, right?
Yeah, and then everything just went wrong for the Colts. So definitely a team I am not touching for a while here. They're also Jonathan Taylor. He got hurt too. So he thinks he's going to play, but a short rest here coming into Thursday night football. I'm not trusting Jonathan Taylor coming out for this game. Even if he is, his ankle's going to be messed up in this game facing a good Broncos defense. Everything's just a mess. And I know one of the Colts safeties was hurt last week. He didn't play. He's questionable here. So that's why I didn't notice these injuries to these Colts last week. I never even would have touched these guys against the Titans last week. That doesn't bode well against Henry running the ball, So I know Javonte Williams, I talked about, he's out for the season, but they still have Melvin Gordon. I still see these guys being able to put enough points against the Colts. The Colts just look like garbage, man. I do not trust them. I think a 27-20 type of game. Give me the Broncos here.
Yeah, you're going to pay me enough to take this spread. I just feel like I would be losing money on this play personally. I would play the under. I think it's going to be a dog shit kind of game. Under 43. You have a little bit higher with the 27-20 to hit that over. But like you said, there's a lot of injury problems. Russ is still not cooking, so that's an issue. And under 43, that's pretty much where I'm at for the most part. So, yeah, it's that's pretty much, if anything I'm going to take, I'm probably be on the sidelines, honestly, for this one. But if I had to take something, it has to be pretty much the under here. And we got Mitch checking in over. He says, who has more fumbles, Gordon or Ryan?
Who has more fumbles, Wentz or Ryan? Oh my gosh. Once I saw, he's worse than Carson Wentz of last year. I've never seen a guy fumble so much since Carson Wentz, man. It's absolutely terrible. These guys are, and even Hines, the backup running back for the Colts, he even talked about what we talked about weeks ago. Hey, we keep having a new quarterback coming in here, and now we're going against Tannehill, who's been here for the past 5 or 6 years. We keep facing the same guy, and we have a different quarterback every single week. So that's why they always struggle the first month of football. I mean, they're going to bounce back. They'll get going again. I had a bunch of notes saying how the Colts should bounce back with some scoring if Jonathan Taylor, like his first 4 weeks last year, he did the same thing. He struggled, but then he went off after that. Yeah. But now that I see that he's messed up his ankle, now I can't even touch this game. If he's got a messed up ankle, now that's something I'm just avoiding with the Colts. But I was going to think that they could get back, get into play well here. But again, if I were to take this game, it's just the Broncos, just because they're 2-2. I see them getting a win here Thursday Night Football. All the night games that Russ played in, he didn't look good. So this has got to be one that he plays decent in. He showed some signs of playing pretty well last week, but couldn't put it all together. It's going to happen sooner or later.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it has to play good eventually, right? It's like only like a matter of time, but
I know.
this is going to be a clunker of a game. I want no parts here. Then we got the London game, the Giants at the Packers. Packers are laying 8.5. The over under us is 41.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Packers here. We got the Giants at 3-1, but they're just a bad team that's been taking advantage of an easy schedule right now. Their 2 touchdowns last week came on Daniel Jones' runs. So that's kind of like
wait a minute. Did you just say Daniel Jones got 2 rushing touchdowns?
Yes, it was.
Oh my gosh!
That's why they were just faking with Saquon, and he would run it in for the touchdown. So
he had 2 rushing touchdowns.
Yes. Why you love those 2 rushing touchdowns?
Oh, Ross, I wish you didn't tell me that. All right.
But this is like another bad team like last year. Like remember Sam Darnold when they were winning games because he was running for touchdowns last year in the beginning of the season. This team literally has no wide receivers, man. I think their one receiver last year had like -2 fantasy points last week. Like none of these guys can play right now. Nobody wants to play. They're all supposed to be traded soon or something. Trade talks. So this just has the feeling of the same Giants teams of the past couple of years, like things just falling apart. Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor, I don't even know if they're playing yet. They just got Jake Fromm. I think they just signed him. So we don't even know if he's going to play or not. So this is a spot where the Packers are also going to be focused because they just played that tight game to the Patriots. They came out sloppy. So I see the Packers being focused here. And I think this is actually the London game I forgot to mention. So London game, I could see this being a nice, easy win for the Packers here, 27-14 type of game.
Yeah, I mean, it's Packers or nothing for the most part. I know Daniel Jones is banged up. Tyrod Taylor's out there. Pretty much going to be working out Jake Fromm for the most part because he was with the team before. So if you're going to take anything, take the Packers. I mean, this is going to be an ugly game. So Packers and Packers only here.
It's just funny that the Daniel Jones, I saw like 2 different reports. I saw one that said, oh, he's hopeful to come back this Thursday. And another report, I'm reading some article, Daniel Jones is out 4 to 6 weeks. So I'm like, holy hell, what the hell's going on here? Like, so I have no clue what's going on with this.
Right. I hear you. Next game we got is Pittsburgh Steelers at Buffalo Bills. Bills are laying 14 points. The over-under is 47.
I'm going to go with the over here. These 2 teams played last year. The score was actually 23-16, very low scoring game. And the Steelers pulled the upset the first week of the season. Josh Allen struggled in that game because Watt was chasing him around the whole game. But in this spot, I just feel like he's not going to be in this game now. He's hurt. Just seems like a perfect spot for the Bills to score 30 points in this game because the past 2 weeks they put up only averaging 21 points per game in those last 2 weeks. So Steelers, they're also missing one of their starting cornerbacks in this game. And the other 3 starters, they're in the secondary they're all questionable. So these guys are banged up right now in the secondary. I think everything's just going wrong for the Steelers team. The spread is so big, I can't take a big spread like that, but I just feel like it's an over type of game. And Pickett, crazy stuff was happening. He played just 1 half. He had 3 interceptions, 2 rushing touchdowns. Like, I just feel like this is going to turn into a little bit of a crazy game here, Chris. And I see like a 34-20 or something type of game here.
Yeah, they have no chance at the QB position here with the Steelers and the Bills, playing that close game last week. This looks like a good get-right spot for them. And usually we love backing Tomlin being a dog, especially a dog like this. But I think this is going to be a really tough point to take the Steelers here with this many points. I mean, you don't ever see this number with Mike Tomlin. So I'm right with you there. It's Bills there. And I don't even know. I mean, you think they could score 40 on them?
I think so, definitely, because they only scored 21 the last 2 games versus good teams. So I feel like they can put it on them here. Oh, there is Scott. I want to see what they say here. What they say?
What's up? Oh, he was saying Pickett's 13 for 13 this last week over here, 10 to his guys and 3 to the other. So that was he was really on point last week.
That's perfect for an over right there. That's what you want to see. A guy that's completing passes, and then when he makes mistakes, throwing pick sixes. That's the type of stuff I like to see right there. There was that one negative for the Bills. That's why I didn't want to pick them. I forgot to mention they have the Chiefs next week. So big look ahead game. Have the Chiefs circled on their schedule. The Chiefs own them. They always knock them out of the playoffs. So expect the Bills to have that game circled for next week. So it could be a get out of Dodge type of game, even if they are up,
This game's pretty interesting to me over here. The Falcons at the Bucks. Bucks are laying now 9 points. The over-under us is 48.
Yeah, I think we're both in agreement on this. I'm taking the Bucks here. Bucks elite team coming off 2 straight losses, and then we have the Falcons, who are a bad team, coming off 2 straight wins. So Bucks are starting to get healthy. On the offensive end, we see Godwin coming back. All these guys, wide receivers. That was the Bucks' issues in the beginning of the season. Couldn't move the ball on offense, but last week they showed they could move the ball. They just ran into a situation where they faced the Chiefs, who wanted revenge from that Super Bowl a couple of years ago. So Bucks still put up 30 points there. I don't see them having any issues putting up 30 points in this game. And we see that Cordero Patterson's actually out for this game. Correct. And if we check it out, I think the Falcons have won 4 straight games against the spread, I think, right?
Correct. They're 4-0 against the spread.
Exactly. So you got a bottom tier versus a top tier. That's good. That's a perfect spot here for the Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, if you get this game started at 8, now it's up to 9. You want to get it before it hits that 10-point over here. Yeah, Tom Brady losing on back, like you said, losing on prime time, going to be home again. You got all this news with him and Giselle, going to be divorcing, this and that and everything. He's going to put it on this week. I love him for Survivor. I think they cover anyway. Probably going to be my Survivor play. So it's going to be the Bucks this week. Bucks -9. Next game we're going to get into is the Titans at the Commanders. The Commanders are getting 2.5 points. The over-under is 42.5.
I'm going to go with the Commanders here. I know Mitch isn't going to be happy. I made the mistake last week fading the Titans, and I made the mistake of taking the Commanders last week as well. But it's just a spot here. Titans don't have the playmakers on defense like the Cowboys do last week. They had the great pass rush, made the mistake of going against the Cowboys last week with the Commanders' offensive line hurt. But the Titans are a team that they took advantage of that hurt Colts team missing all those guys last week. They're still a team that I'm down on, a team that made the playoffs last year that I'm down on, missing those key players. This is one of the games, Chris, that I got my eye on because this looks like it's going up to 70-80% of the bets on the Titans, and I just don't trust it here. I think Carson Wentz, if he gets enough time that he can put up points, he showed us the first 2 weeks against those average teams, which I think the Titans are an average team. The Commanders can put up points here, so I'll take them with the +2.5 here.
Yeah, this is an ugly game, man. I like where you're coming from with the betting public going here. Even Mitch is bringing up, though, Dotson's going to be out for the Commanders. That's big as well. I mean, that's a big weapon. Titans haven't been all that special for the most part. This is personally a stay away game for me. I'm kind of actually almost leaning the over here for the most part.
Yeah, I would say that too.
Because I just think turnovers are going to lead the points one way or another. And I know that D-line's been playing pretty decent for Washington right now. So it'll be interesting what they do with that pass game for the most part. And this guy goes, yo.
Oh, he's back. Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks, man. I don't think he was here last week.
Okay, good to have you back, my man. We appreciate it.
But the thing is, that was frustrating with the Commanders last week because I knew the Cowboys, they weren't getting anywhere over that 22 points or something, but all the Commanders had to do was get the 17 or 18 points to try to get the cover, and Wentz ended up putting like 10 points against the Cowboys in a dome. Like, that's pretty pathetic. You know what I mean? Yeah. That was definitely frustrating.
All right, we're going to get into our next game, Bears at Vikings. Vikings are laying 7. The over-under us is 44.
All right, Vikings game. Sorry, I'm a little off the key here. I got the over here. I feel like this is a bad spot for the Vikings coming off 2 straight wins. Now they're traveling back from London. And the Vikings, they're actually 27th in defensive yards allowed. So the Bears, I don't see them having any trouble getting at least 20 points here. I think they can hit that 20 mark. And then we have the Bears who struggle actually stopping the run, and the Vikings love to run the ball. So I don't see the Vikings having any problems putting up points as well. So I see like a 27-20 type of game. I think it goes over this 44 mark pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm on the Vikings here. I think this is a
Mhm.
good spot for them here. They got that close game, in London. Now they get to come back home. They're feeling pretty good. The Kirk Cousin vibes are very high right now. And let's see what Chicago's done recently. So, like with Chicago, for the most part, their offense, they really can't score for the most part. The Minnesota defense is number 12 in the NFL in points scored. So they are good at the run, Chicago, but this just seems like too good of a spot for the Vikings to come back home. After that London game, that was a really close game, and I think this is high for a reason. This game, it looks too easy to take the Bears, and I won't buy the bait, if you will, take the bait. So give me the Vikings -7.
I just got to throw something out there. I got to vent something here.
All right, here we
Last
go.
week, in that I was watching that whole Vikings game, I was going nuts because I had the Saints. They ended up covering, but there was a phantom call on the Saints late in that
Right.
game. It was like 3rd and long. They called hands to the face on Tyrann Mathieu, and he literally just pushed the guy's shoulder pad. I'll show you the video later after
Mhm.
the show, but it was pretty
Yeah.
nuts. And then the Vikings end up getting a pass interference all the way at the 1 yard line on the very next play. So the NFL's crazy where you could throw a flag on anything and pretty much can change the game. So it's pretty crazy how it works out.
I know it's crazy. Sometimes the refs put the game in their hands. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
But the next game we got is Houston at Jacksonville. Jacksonville laying 7. The over under us 44.5. Where you going?
I'm going to go with the Texans here.
Mhm.
Jaguars, they've looked impressive this year, but this is a spot where they're coming in as a favorite. We talked about this last week with the Lions, who struggled as they were a big favorite. They did have injuries and that line dropped, but this is kind of a similar situation. The Jaguars aren't used to being that big favorite role. The Texans kind of impressed me last week. They fought back against the Chargers. They cut that down to a touchdown and ended up losing by 10, but definitely impressed me that they could come back against the Chargers. I think they could easily come back and easily get a backdoor against the Jaguars in this game. I could see like a 26-20 type of game. The Jaguars win, but the Texans get the cover.
I wouldn't be surprised if Texans win this game, honestly. I think
That's
they're a
true too.
live dog here. I think Jacksonville, I think that was a really demoralizing loss for them with all the losses and everything. Here we go. Alt line -2.5 Texans.
Uh-oh.
Worked with
You know,
Detroit
Chris,
last week.
Chris is going to be in a. I'm always down on the Titans, and Chris is always going to be down on the Jaguars this year. I just know it.
I just know that this is just not a good spot for them. That was a really
Mhm.
emotional game. They lost that game. I think it's going to take some time to bounce back from there. I think Texans are a live dog here. They are serviceable this year. This might be the only time that you see me pumping the Texans bandwagon here with Lovie Smith and the gang, but they have been playing pretty hard. So they were in that Chargers game for the most part. They end up losing by 10 at the end, but
Mhm.
I'm right there with the Texans +7. So that's where I'm at.
Mhm.
Next game we got is Miami Dolphins at the New York Jets. Jets are getting 3 points. The over under us 44.
Yeah, I'm actually taking the Dolphins here. Dolphins coming off a loss last week in a bad spot versus the Bengals. Was basically on the road on a Thursday night football game, and the Dolphins actually were beating all good teams. They had a tough schedule all those first 3 games, and then had to come into that short rest against on Thursday night football. And also they had that whole incident with Tua happen. So it was just a game that they were actually close with the Bengals. And then after that incident happened, they kind of just like were shell shocked and didn't do much after that. And then we got the Jets. They're coming off a big win last week versus the Steelers. And I watched that game. Zach Wilson, he didn't really impress me. I mean, he made some plays, but he made some questionable throws that could have been interceptions. I don't think that's going to fly here in this Dolphins game. I know Bridgewater is going to be playing in this game, but I think he does just enough. I think the Dolphins defense steps up in this game. I could see like a 23-16 type of game. The Dolphins get a cover by like a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, Teddy Two Gloves, he's serviceable. He should be able to be fine. I love fading bad teams that win big games. Zach
Mhm.
Wilson had a catching touchdown, I believe, on some
Oh,
weird
that's right.
play. Like they really threw everything out on that game to try and win that game. That was
Mhm.
like that they did everything they possibly could. They showed all the tricks. They're all done. So I'm right there with you. I think Teddy Bridgewater can do plenty there. I think there's a lot of negativity with the Dolphins right now with Tua and everything. They have been playing well. Give me the -3 with the Dolphins.
Nice.
Next game, we got the Chargers at the Browns. Browns are getting 3 points. The over-under is 47.5.
Um, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chargers here. Browns don't impress me. They've already lost 2 games already to bad teams, the Falcons and the Jets. There are 2 wins that they had were against the Steelers and the Panthers, and those
Mhm.
teams aren't even playoff teams. The quarterbacks that they faced were Baker Mayfield, Flacco, Trubisky, and Mariota, all average to below average quarterbacks so far. Now they actually have to face a top 5 quarterback. I just feel like it's a step up in class. They might struggle here. And I remember their good linebacker was out a couple weeks ago. They didn't look good against the Falcons last week. So I think the Chargers can win this by a touchdown here, 28-21.
Yeah, this is going to be an ugly game. We're still looking at, the quarterback Herbert, if he's going to be healthy enough to, be able to cover a game like this. We know the defense has been pretty good for the most part. Myles Garrett being out with the car crash accident's big. That's 2 to 4 weeks. This is a complete stay away for me for the most part. I just don't like this spot. If I had to take a spot, it would be the Chargers, but I want no parts of this game. So no, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next game we got is Detroit at New England. New England is laying 3. The over under us 46.5.
Yeah, I really like the under here. The Lions, they're averaging 35 points per game, but the thing is that all 4 of their games have all been played in a dome. They had 3
Mhm.
at home and then 1 in Minnesota. So this is a team that struggled on the road last year. 8 of the 9 road games that they played last year, they scored 19 points or lower. So the Patriots, they love to run the ball. I see them running the ball easily. And then I looked up the lines. They're 30th in the NFL in rushing yards allowed. So this is the type of game that I talk myself into taking the under here. But I'm also starting to like the Patriots now that I'm seeing all this negativity for the lines in this spot.
Yeah, I mean Zappy, he answered the call. He finally came in, looked pretty
I
good. I was
didn't,
calling for
I
his
didn't
name
even
last
know
week.
until I saw the highlights. I'm like, holy shit, Zappy got called in. I was like,
Oh, he
holy
got
shit.
called and he was slinging the rock a little bit. So, I
Uh-huh.
mean, I think they're going to let the playbook get cut a little loose. They've been kind of restrictive last week. Patriots seems like a nice little spot. I like the Patriots here as well. I think this is a really sneaky spot where people are really high on Detroit. I think there's going to be a lot of Detroit money coming in for the most part with all the crap that's been going on with the Patriots. They're going to be rocking the old unis this week. The vibes are going to be high there, Russ. I think Zappy does enough, and he's going to cover here. So give me the Patriots laying
Yeah, I
3.
saw Mac Jones was still questionable, so I still have no clue.
And Hoyer's banged up too.
Yeah, I think he's out. He's old and got a
Yeah,
concussion, right? So I doubt. Is that what happened? He had a
I
concussion.
believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. But remember, we talked last week about Goff. Belichick knew all about him. That's why he struggled in that Super Bowl. He's
Mhm.
got them at Patriots here. So maybe if Belichick knows what to cook up here against Goff, who couldn't score any points in the Super Bowl with that team. I don't. We got to look at the Lions too. That whole offense was out last week. That's why they
Mhm.
gave up so many points to the Seahawks. So I'd imagine Swift is back, but again, this team isn't the type of team that I would trust on the road either. So
Nah, I think they'll get plenty of public attention. So I'll go against that all day. So I'll take the Patriots with Zappy slinging that rock. So next game, Seahawks at Saints. Saints are laying 5.5 for us. The over under is 46.
yeah, I'm going to go with the team total under for the Seahawks points. It's
Okay.
20 points it should be at. I feel like this is a great spot to fade this offense as they just dropped 48 points last week, and that was with
Correct.
Geno Smith. Saints losing 3 games in a row. I just feel like the defense is going to show up as well. They should be pissed off in this game. Definitely want this game bad. The Seahawks only put up 7 points against the 49ers. I just feel like this is a spot where the Saints can play that, shut down that basic offense of the Seahawks. I don't see them having any issues here. Under 20 points, I'll take that all day.
Yeah, ugly game. Kamara's going to be out. Jameis Winston looks like it's well, even though Dalton's like okay at best. I mean, Michael Thomas banged up toe issue. I mean, all the weapons are gone. Seahawks scoring a bunch of points. I mean, they're not going to be able to score a lot of points again. I just like the under here. I'm probably not playing it, but if I am going to play something, it's just going to be the under. It's going to be an ugly game. So that's pretty much, I think, as much as we need to go with that game. I think
I don't know if Kamara might come back because
he might come back.
Yeah, he was practicing last week, and then they out of nowhere, that was the surprise of the week to me because I had the Saints, and then when I saw that, I'm like, Kamara was like practicing limited, and then just out of nowhere, they said he wasn't playing the game. So I think with him, oh yeah, because they. What's his name came in? Latavius Murray. That's got to be a sign to show you right there. Latavius Murray,
Yeah.
he came into that game. He was dominating, man. That's why the Broncos just picked him up. He was like 6 yards a carry, man. He was dominating the Vikings last week. Came out of nowhere.
He's on the Broncos now?
Yeah, the Broncos picked him up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they just signed him. So that because they just lost Javonte Williams. They probably saw how well he played last week in that Saints game, and they picked him up. He's got a ton of touchdowns in his career. Like he was rock solid. Every time I saw Mark Ingram, I'm like, get him out of the game. He's picking up like 1 yard. He's punching the ball.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And then what's his name? Just picking up like 6 yards a carry. I'm like, just give him the ball every time. So so
I know
that's
what you mean.
So the whole point of that was Latavius Murray. They let him go to the Broncos. So you got to think. They got to think Kamara's coming back then if that's the issue. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't just leave Mark Ingram with this fourth string guy or Dwayne Washington. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just feel like they got to think Kamara's coming back then if they just gave up their good backup running back for that. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, Murray's like a Tony Pollard, man. They're just a solid backup that's getting their time and now going to be with Denver now. So it'll be pretty interesting to see that as well. But I like the under there. San Fran at Carolina. Carolina's getting 6.5. Russ, the over-under is 38.5.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with the 49ers here. I almost was going to say don't take them just because it was Monday Night Football. They have to travel after that, but they're in a spot where they're 2-2. They lost to that bad team in the Bears. So I think these guys are going to be focused that they can't have another little slip up here. And they're playing Baker Mayfield. I mean, I looked at his stats. He's only put up under 235 passing yards in every single one of his games. And he's facing the 49ers, whose defense, I told you 2 weeks ago in that game, they were swarming against the Broncos. Like, then you watched them last week against the Rams, same thing, man. This defense is legit because they don't have a bunch of injuries. The past 3 years, there was always guys that were out, in and out, secondary or Bosa. But now these guys are fully healthy. This defense is legit. I think they can carry that over into this game. So I think they could just like a 23-13 type of game. I remember I said something about their margin of victory. Whenever they win games, last year it was like by 13 points or more. So when they win games, they dominate games. They're never close. So if I'm going to pick them to win this, I'm going to pick them to win by 10 points here. So I'll take the Niners.
Yeah, I guess if you're going to take someone, you're going to take the 49ers, right? Because, I mean, Carolina just looked real bad. I loved Arizona last week. That was one of my favorite plays. I know it was kind of dicey in the beginning. It started off a little slow, but then Murray went a little wild. The defense picked up, a key turnover to cover that number easily. But what an ugly game, Russ. I mean, this is one that you're not going to see on the red zone. So I think we should be moving on over here.
A lot of field goals, probably.
Yeah, a lot of the field goal zone will be ready.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next game we got is the Philadelphia Eagles at the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals are getting 5.5. The over-under, Russ, 49.
Yeah, last week I think I was on a lean with the Jaguars. I just clicked it just because I had a bad feeling it was either that game or this game that I felt like the Eagles are going to struggle, like not play as well. But I don't know. I got the Cardinals here. So I say the same thing every week, though. Kyler Murray as a dog. He covered last week as the dog again against a team that isn't the Rams. So I'm going to keep riding that money train there of him as a dog. So I'll take him there in this spot. And the Eagles next week, they actually see that they have the Cowboys, and the Cowboys have owned Jalen Hurts. So he's going to have that on his mind, have that game circled because he wants to show his stuff in that game. So I definitely think this is a good spot for the Cardinals. Getting plus 5.5 at home is a pretty big number. I mean, everyone's in love with the Eagles now, so this seems a little imploded. I think the Eagles can even control the game, be up 12 points, but Kyler just with his legs can easily just come back and cover this game. So I think it'll be a little bit of high scoring too. I could see like a 27-23 type of game. The Cardinals get the cover.
Yeah, I mean, I love the over. That's pretty much where I'm at. I
Mhm.
talked about this game last week. The points will be scored. Even in that crazy weather game, I think they still scored 50 points, which is pretty outrageous when it should have been
Yeah.
probably 20 points because that weather was insane. I mean, we're in the area. I was flying in. It was crazy. The weather was absolutely terrible. I talked about last week. I like the Cardinals in the spot. I think this is the spot where they can catch the Eagles sleeping a little bit. I don't know if the Eagles lose this game, but I think this is a spot where, once again, Arizona is going to keep this game close. It's this high because the Eagles are the only undefeated team in the NFL, beating a very popular Jags team, which, I'm not sold on as much, but still popular regardless. I like the Cardinals here plus the points, but I really like the over, so that's what I'm playing. I'm playing the over 49 here.
Nice.
Next game, we got Dallas Cowboys at LA Rams. Rams are laying 4.5. The over under us, 43.
Yeah, I got the Rams here. There's been a shift on watching all the TV and everything about the Cowboys getting amped up. I mean, they were getting up to 70% bet last week, but they took advantage of the Commanders who had a beat up offensive line. We're getting to a spot here. We got Rush coming off 3 straight wins as a backup quarterback. Rushes look good, but that's all versus average at bad defenses. We got the Rams here. The Rams do have a solid defense. The game was very close in that Niners game just because they gave up one long play to Debo. He ended up like running like 60, 70 yards for a touchdown. The Rams are still a solid D. So I hear all this talk. I mean, the line's making me feel like Dak's probably going to play here if the line's only 4.5.
He's not going to play.
He's not playing.
No, I don't believe so.
If he doesn't play, this is absolutely absurd of a line. If you're going to give me only -4.5 against Rush,
I'm almost certain he's not playing.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong, but
no, I'm not sure either on this game. But that's the thing. Even if Dak does play this game, I don't trust it. I remember Russell Wilson came back, rushed back, coming back early last year. He had that finger or thumb injury, whatever. He had a finger injury. He ended up scoring 0 points the next game. They rushed him back. So these guys, you can't just rush back. You got to be able to grip the football here right. And especially in this type of game against the Rams, I think maybe they'll probably hold them out. But I just felt like the way the line looked, like Rush as the backup. I feel like if you look at this, it doesn't make any sense. Only -4.5. The Bengals were -7, -8 on the road. So yeah, this line is telling me that maybe he is playing because the Rams that low, only -4.5 at home. It just
they've
doesn't
been
make.
playing well of late, so I guess maybe that's some public
I
momentum.
know
there,
that's.
but
I think it's really over. I think the value there is here with the Rams. Man, they haven't looked good on the
yeah,
two
well, I
primetime
mean,
games.
every week we talk about the lines are made based on last week, so the
Mhm.
Cowboys have been looking pretty decent.
And it's the two primetime games. You saw them not score in two
Yeah.
primetime games, the Bills game and then yesterday or whatever against the 49ers. So this is a game that I could see here. If Mitch is here, man, this is the alternative line game, man. All right. This is where you got the buy low team here, Chris, with the Rams.
Yeah.
I would take the -13.5. I would go up to in this game.
Oh, okay. A little
They
body
will
bag
look-
game.
If the Rams are playing good, they're going to kick your ass, man. They're not just going to come out and beat you by a field goal. I think if they come out in this game, I think they're going to put it on the Cowboys. We haven't seen Rush any turnovers or Dak, whoever's going to be quarterback. I just feel like this is a turnover game. This defense comes out. That's right, Mitch. Get that puppy in.
Absolutely. But this game, I really like the under here. This is a really good spot. Like you said, Rush has been playing pretty well. I mean, the Rams are not going to put it on you. That's pretty much not what they are. Cowboys defense is playing really solid, but I got some kind of like trends, things like that. That's going to really back this under over here. So the under is 6-1 in Rams games in the last 7 games, following a straight up loss of more than 14 points. So 6-1 to the under based on that. So when they get embarrassed, that defense really comes out and really plays well. And then the Cowboys are 9-1-1 in their last 11 games, falling against the spread win with the under. I know it's Cooper. I know it's Rush. It's a different quarterback, but these are just things that I kind of saw for just little trend things for the people. But I think the one more important is that Rams one, because I think, we've seen them enough where when they have looked real bad, the defense has stepped up and it's been an under kind of game. So give me the under 43 for the Rams.
Yeah, I think these guys are gonna smash, man. We got everyone betting the Cowboys, man. That this is gonna be they're gonna kill them, man. I can
All
see
right,
it. We go from everyone hating the Cowboys thing. So now everybody hates the Rams because
yes,
70 to
correct.
80, 70 to 80% of the public on Monday Night Football thought they were going to beat the 49ers just because you played the
Correct.
best defense in the NFL.
Yep.
So everyone's off of them. This is just a great spot, Chris, where
This could have been like
everyone's
a 7.5 point line,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. You got the whole stock up of the Cowboys and the lowest stock down of the Rams, man. This is just
Yep.
a perfect spot where I feel like they'll kick their ass. So I like the
So,
Rams.
so we got Sunday Night Football here. We got the Bengals at the Ravens. Ravens are laying 3 points. The over-under us 48.5.
Yeah, I'll go with the Ravens here. I feel like it's a good spot here for the Ravens. They're coming off that disappointing loss last week that they blew versus the Bills. And then they're also going to want revenge in this game. Remember, the Bengals kicked their ass. So one of the games was like 41-17 last year. The Ravens had those injuries last year. We got a whole new Ravens team this year that are going to want this win bad. It's going to be a night game too. Lamar, he's 10-5 in primetime games.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take the Ravens here, 28-21.
Yeah, I mean, the Bengals showing up on that Thursday night game with the whiteout, all that stuff for the most part. I mean, this just fits perfectly for the Ravens right here. This is a really good spot. A game that they probably should have won. They end up not winning. They were dominating them at the beginning of the game. This was a heartbreaker for me because I lost the over on this game. It was 20-10 at halftime. It ended up being 23-20 the final. So like that never happens to me when I have the under. But things like that happen. They kind of let their foot off the gas off the pedal a little bit. So I think this is a good spot where they for sure take care of business on prime time and make a bold statement. Lamar Jackson will once again, people will be like, he is the man. He will get paid even more now after this game. It's going to be that kind of game for him.
Definitely.
So finally, we got the Monday night game. We have Raiders at Chiefs. Chiefs are now laying 7. The over under us 51.
Yeah, I'll go with the Raiders here. The Chiefs coming off a big win last week against the Bucks. Like I said earlier, that was the revenge game, losing to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. I can see them coming out a little flat in this game. The last 3 seasons, I looked back, there were 6 instances where the Chiefs with Mahomes scored over 40 points. The next game, they averaged 26.5 points per game. So we saw a perfect game by the Chiefs last week. They literally scored on almost every possession when I was watching the game. I can see them, they could get to like 27, but I could see like a 27-21 game. I think the Raiders can do just enough to keep up with their offense. I'll take the Raiders with the points.
Yeah, I kind of like that spot for the most part. I think the under is more of where I'm kind of at. It's kind of scary because we look how good Mahomes is. He's scoring every way possible. But yeah, I'm just looking at some couple spots here. I mean, he kind of went back to back on 40-point games, but it's a spot that it looks way too easy to take this over here for the most part. I think the Raiders will run the ball a lot more, a lot more screen plays, things like that to kind of control the clock, if you will. McDaniels isn't dumb. They haven't been the best team this year. The record's been bad. They're 1-3. They're 1-3 against the spread too. This looks way too easy just to take Kansas City here because they look so good last week. They're only still 2-2 against the spread. So 2 wins, 2 losses. So it's not like they're dominating the against the spread board over here, but I like the under. I think the under is a nice little play here. So if I have to take something, I'm probably gonna be on the sidelines with this game, but I will take the under over here.
Yeah, that's funny because I originally put my notes in and I had the under for this game. And the only reason I changed it to the Raiders spread is just because it was a night game. So I was just thinking Mahomes in a night game. I was like, maybe it could go over. So that's the only thing that scared me. But I feel like if it goes over, the Raiders, I feel like they'll cover if it does go over,
Yeah, absolutely. But that'll do it for the NFL card. You guys, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. But we got a couple college games left. Am I right, Russ?
Oh, yeah, man. You got your first game that you love. You got a little Air Force -10 at Utah State.
Absolutely.
Yeah, first
you know it.
Game.
Absolutely, man. It's a body bag game. Welcome back. This college football body bag games. We've been hitting them all year. We're going to do it again. Air Force is traveling to Logan, Utah. These Aggies are absolutely terrible. The record is terrible for Utah State. Air Force has been the best rushing team in the entire country. The Aggies, they're ranked 100th in the country in total offensive yards. They're bad on offense. Their rush defense is one of the worst in college. They're going to run on them at will. Logan Bonner, the quarterback for Utah State, has been absolutely terrible, throwing more interceptions than touchdowns. This has been kind of a battle back and forth for the most part. I don't see that happening for the most part. Utah State gives up 189 rushing yards a game. Air Force gives up 307. Actually, they average 379 yards a game rushing on offense. This will be a really hard task for the Aggies of Utah State to contain this rushing offense. The senior quarterback, Hazik Daniels, has been fantastic, throwing for 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Senior, perfect spot here. Air Force is 7-1 against Mountain West teams with a record less than 500, and Utah is 1-4 on the year with a losing record in that conference. So they have not played well. The Aggies are also 0-4 in their last 4 home games, not showing much, home cooking, if you will. So I will be more than happy to take the body bag game. Air Force Falcons going to be running wild. Absolutely, body bag game.
Body bags have been actually on fire this year, actually. So I thought we have to look back. I think it's got to be like 80% at the moment.
Oh, I know, dude. The body bag games have been in fuego, and even through a couple in the NFL that you had going, especially with the Bills and everything. So we've been cruising pretty good over here for the most part. But hey, we got another game here. We're gonna get into your game over here. I know you're going to the Sun Belt over here. This is you're coming into my territory.
Yeah, I figured I'd get in your territory. I didn't have a college game last week. I felt bad for everyone. I didn't send out a pick, so I feel like I always find these great spots for the bigger games, but I feel like I can find the same type of spots here for the small games too. So on this show, I'll start throwing out some of the small games too as well, if there is a good spot.
So the line we got here pretty much is Georgia State. They're laying 2.5. The over-under Russ is 68. Where are you going this game in the Sun Belt?
Yeah, I'm actually going with Georgia Southern. They're a small dog here on the road. Georgia State, they're coming off a big win last week. They beat Army as a +8.5 underdog. So now Georgia Southern, I see that they were +6 at home last year when they faced Georgia State. So now seeing them only +3 on the road is showing me that Georgia Southern is much improved from last season to this year. I think this is a great spot here. Georgia Southern's only getting about 35% of the bets, and it's only at +2.5 right now. I feel like it's just a sucker bet if to take Georgia State just because they beat them last year. I'll take Georgia Southern here plus the 2.5. I think some books are going up to +3, but I think these guys will win this game outright.
Russ is all about that triple option by Georgia Southern over here. They're the triple option team over. They rarely throw it, but they'll give you all the tricks of the trade of the run game. So I'll be curious. I'll be looking in on that game. I always love watching a good triple option kind of team.
Oh, I love them, especially when it's a high-scoring game with a triple option.
Dude, it's the best. Absolute best. I love watching Army, dude. That's like they do that all the time, like that triple option. I absolutely love it. So
it's usually a bowl game. You'll have like an Air Force versus Houston or something. I remember that like 6 years ago. It was like 45-42 or something. People would just score nonstop. It was great.
Hey, Larry, we appreciate you, man. Saying good show for us over here. Fantastic, man. We love the support. We've seen you before. Thank you for following, liking, all that good stuff, spreading the word. We appreciate it. But we're gonna get into a little game that kind of under the radar a little bit. This is a game I kind of had highlighted at the beginning of the year. This is Middle Tennessee State at UAB. UAB's laying 9 points. The over-under Russ is 52.5. If you watch the show from the beginning of the year, I loved UAB over 8.5. That was one of my plays pretty much for the season total. Shockingly, though, I had 2 teams with team total bets. Both of them lost coaches. Wisconsin and Arizona State both lost their coach. So it'll be interesting to see how those pan out at the end of the day. But now we got UAB laying 9 points. UAB's coming off of that Rice game where they lost on the road. They shouldn't have lost it. It was a 10.5 point spread. We're at 2-2 right now. Foot's got to be on the gas for the Blazers. Middle Tennessee State's coming off a UTSA loss that they had revenge on the mind. They lost 30-45. I think they could have kept that game a lot closer, especially after having a win against Miami at Miami. But really, the only teams they beat were Colorado State and Tennessee State. Not impressive at all. They also lost to James Madison last year, which I called a body bag game for one of our first games of the year. So I've been kind of on top of this Middle Tennessee State team when they've been, I know when to hit these guys, and this is a good time to hit them right here. So UAB, they have 8 games left on the schedule, including LSU. So I still think they can hit that over for the most part. And guess what, Russ? Nothing more I like than a homecoming game. Guess what? Homecoming for a team that's supposed to be very good.
Getting started. I know we love those homecoming games.
Dude, I'm telling you, this team has high hopes this year. You got to do it for the alumni. This line is imploded for a reason. This team should be playing a lot better over here. Honestly, this line should have been lower based on the public perception of Middle Tennessee State. So I really like them here. Dwayne McBride, running back for UAB, he has 6 touchdowns, averaging almost 7 yards a carry. UAB is 6-1 against the spread versus a team with a winning record in their last 7. I love the Blazers here. I still think they got a shot with the season total. Give me UAB.
Yeah, it seems like a smart pick there.
Yep.
Little Tennessee won their Super Bowl. Was that last week or 2 weeks ago against Miami, Florida? So I could see this being a down game for them playing at UAB.
Yeah, this will be a tough game for them here, but that'll do it for us, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Russ appreciates it. You can find me at Chris Ebom on Twitter. I also have my Picks-Wise write-ups this week coming up Wednesday night, Thursday into the morning, somewhere around there. That'll do it for us. Thank you again. Remember to subscribe, like, spread the word. We appreciate it. We know you guys have been doing it, and thank you again. It's been absolutely fantastic.
Definitely. Yep. Don't forget, guys, like and subscribe. We hit that 200 mark. Let's try to get up to 300. Let's go slowly. Spread the word. Let's get this out. And guys, you see both our handles at Chris Ebom, at Vegas Line Reader. Don't hesitate to message us each week. We can give you tips on who to pick each weekend. Even if there's a game that you want to lean on, we'd be happily to help you guys. So don't hesitate to ask us. And confident. Had a bad weekend last weekend. Definitely excited to finally get to this weekend and kick some ass again. So let's have another great weekend.
Absolutely, man. If you guys are on BetStamp, you can see my plays all week as well. So let's go make that money.